Morning everybody and welcome to, what's it called here?
The Cloud.
The Cloud. We're not far from Nigel's house. I had to leave very early this morning, but I was willing to do it because
Just over there somewhere.
Nigel's falling to bits, so
it
made sense that you didn't come to me this time. We're going to do another challenge. This time it's 100 versus 400, and we've already flipped the coin, and luckily for me, based on how it looks, I got the 400. So we'll see how we go.
And I've got 100.
Yeah.
And the reason I think 400 is going to be good is because it's just foggy and there's going to be some gorgeous sunlight and
Birds.
yeah, anyway.
Never mind. I mean, I do have another distinct advantage this morning, which is that I've got two working knees at the moment. So
He's going to be faster than me, but you know, it's the tortoise and all that.
right, well, don't get me wrong, I am pleased to have access to 400mm this morning because, well, look at the atmosphere. However, it's not without problems. I'm getting to 400 by using my 2x teleconverter, which in terms of autofocus on a morning like this isn't great because there's not enough contrast in the scene to be able to focus reliably. So I'm manual focusing without access to a tripod plate for my collar, which I've forgotten. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to stick the camera on the tripod just at the camera itself, and we'll see how that goes in terms of stability. Over there is lovely. Okay, first shot is some trees and such in the distance, which I think looks quite nice. It's quite difficult at 400 because you're looking at a tiny, tiny little box of the landscape. So even somewhere as vast as this, 400 is a bit much. That sounds like an excuse already, I'm aware of that. But I think this has turned out all right, as you can see. Not the most stable setup in the world because I'm not using the collar, but such is life. Maybe Nigel's got a hex key. I'll go and ask him.
Apologies for the interruption. I've just got back and I've watched a couple of the clips from this video so far, and the sound, as you might have noticed, is awful. Basically, this little box sits on top of my camera and links wirelessly to my microphone, and it's got a little button on it for decibels, and if you accidentally press this, what that does is it ruins everything. And that's what's happened this morning. So sorry for the terrible sound. Also, I don't think I explained in the intro, but basically Nigel is going to show his 100mm images in his video next week. I'm showing my 400mm in this video. So I'll get back to doing that. Sorry for the interruption again. I just wanted to apologise for the horrific sound. My bad.
Okay, second shot. I've still not moved. I'm in exactly the same place. I've not been to ask Nigel for his hex key yet, but there's some pylons over in the distance, in the mist there, and as you know, if you've watched this channel for a while, I quite like scenes that are, well, full of nature, but also have sort of a human element. Not to everyone's taste, I appreciate, but I do like, for some reason, I don't really know why, yeah, seeing bits of human nature, which is going to be a title of a book one day for me, Human Nature, scenes like this. Anyway, sunrise is coming, so I should probably crack on. No, I've not put a tripod mount on the lens collar, so I'm having to mount the camera out there. Right, well, Nigel has just headed off down there, back where I was, and I'm going to try up here for a little bit. As you can see, the sun's coming out, so hopefully I'll need the lens collar less and less going forward because, well, Nigel didn't have a hex key. I don't have the strength to get this off, so. Two well-prepared photographers. Right, well, I don't shoot at 400 all that often, and I definitely don't shoot exclusively at 400 very much. So training yourself to look at things very far away is, well, I suppose a decent exercise in itself. What is happening here? GoPro, if you could make a chest harness that even I can understand, that would be much appreciated. Well, speaking of man-made stuff, you don't get too many better examples than a, I want to say telescope, but it's not a telescope. I don't know what it is. I'll ask Nigel, he's local and knowledgeable. Ooh, also, just go close to this edge as I dare. There's some amazing mist down here. That would be nice at 100. Little bit jealous of Nigel for that. But at 400, it's not too shabby either. Very, very atmospheric. Just waiting for the birds. There's one.
Sorry for the interruption again. I wanted to talk very quickly about this photo. So if you're anything like me when it comes to editing photos like this, what you want to do, first of all, after you've applied a preset, which is all I've done so far, so I started with this, now it's this, but what I really want to do is just go absolutely nuts with the dehaze slider to reveal details from the mist. Word of warning, in my experience, that never looks anything like as good as you think it does initially. It actually looks horrible, so resist that temptation with all your might, in my opinion. Anyway, the more interesting thing, I think, with images like this, is that because there's no green, there's no blue, there's actually nothing in the way of colour to give away what the white balance should be. It basically means that when it comes to temperature, you can do what you want. So let's take the temperature slider way down to something like this, maybe not quite that, maybe something like this, then it just looks like the image was taken on a really gloomy day, maybe in blue hour. Now if we put it back to what it was, it looks completely different, but still believable. I mean, that's basically how it did look. And of course you could go for something somewhere in the middle like this. The point is that, as I said, because there's no blue, there's no green, there's nothing to give away what the temperature should be, I think it's quite fun to play around with white balance for images like this. So yeah, I think I've spoken about that before quite recently, maybe on an image from Antarctica, but yeah, I quite like doing that. Anyway, back to the video again.
It looks like a telescope or something. Big white dome thing.
Oh, it's Jodrell Bank.
What does that mean?
It means that it's a radio telescope. It's really famous. It's, you know, when they do the sky at night and stuff.
Yeah.
Deep space objects.
Okay.
And it was set up in the 70s.
Right.
So it's still doing pretty good stuff, I think. It was like one of the best telescopes in the world when it was first set up.
I told you you'd know. Well, if nothing else, this morning has been quite useful to help me understand the limitations of this teleconverter. It works, but when there's no contrast in the landscape, autofocus is just a no-go. And then trying to manual focus, handheld at 400mm, well, that's fun too. Still, over there looks quite nice, so I think I've got my eye in for things in another time zone now. Got anything to write home about yet?
No, not really.
No?
I mean, it's definitely better at this focal length, this bit here, because that's quite a nice shot there.
Oh yes, lovely. Yeah, that is nice. Yeah, not so nice at 400mm. I was convinced this morning that 400mm was
Well, no, so was I. I was like,
definitely the better thing.
I was really gutted when I didn't get it.
So this tree in the distance, I'm being a bit picky, but there's a tree to the left of it which is kind of a bit of a distraction, because if it wasn't there, all I'd want to do is have the tree right in the middle of the frame, surrounded by white. The other option is to have the tree at the bottom of the frame, and then you've got the layers of the hills in the background up towards the sky, and I'll get a shot of that too. But really, it's a shame the tree on the left is there. Are we allowed to clone?
Yeah.
I might get rid of it. But yeah, very nice scene. The mist is hanging around. Sunrise must have been, what, an hour and a half ago now?
It's actually more misty now than it was when we got here, I think, especially over there.
Yeah, which is a bit of a treat. So I imagine we'll hang around until it does. Does that make sense?
No, until it doesn't.
Until it doesn't. You know what I meant. Right, the tree has come out again. I mean, I don't know why I'm pointing at it. You definitely won't be able to see it on this wide GoPro footage, but basically I'm trying a different bit of framing. So now we've got the tree on the left, and then there's a big pylon in the middle, which again won't be to Nigel's taste. And then on the right hand side, there's like a bit of woodland, I suppose. And then at the top of the frame, in the distance, there's a tree lined hill. So that, I I think kind of works too. We'll see. Sorry, there's an electric fence here, so we're just making sure we don't touch it.
Yeah.
It's 2 hours after sunrise, and I think we're about ready to call it a day, aren't we?
Yes, I think so. It's a bit harsh now, isn't it? And I think we've got some good shots. We were here for the best of the light. It was nice to get up early. Birds are tweeting.
It was nice. I think maybe 200mm would have been perfect, but I suppose that's the point of the challenge, that we were either side of that. So
Yeah.
I suppose, I think I got a couple of good shots, and I'm looking forward to seeing yours. Nigel's video will be out the week after this one. So if you're watching this in the first few days, you've got Nigel's video to look forward to. If you're watching this after that, then there will be a link in the description to Nigel's video. So definitely go and check that out and give it a thumbs up. And yes, hopefully I've fared a bit better than I did in the 24 versus 200 challenge, because that didn't go very well for me. So yes, fingers crossed.